I'm Alex. I'm with Cloze. Thanks for joining our EXP CRM of Choice session. Today, we're going to run through a little bit of a recap, go through how to organize your contacts in Cloze, and then we're going to dive into how you can use Cloze on a daily basis. We're going to talk through a daily routine, how you can get the most out of Cloze, really stay focused on your sphere, focus on your live flow. We'll talk a little bit about some of the automation you can do, but there's all kinds of things you can do on the automation side. But we really want to get you focused in on that day in and day out routine. That's how you unlock a lot of value out of your sphere. We call that the relationship gold. There's all kinds of opportunities in our sphere. Cloze tracks far more contacts and far more relationships than other CRMs. We want to make sure you're getting the most out of it. So as I mentioned, we're going to start off with a little bit of a recap here, and then we're going to go into that daily routine. One of the things you're going to find with Cloze is that it acts more like a personal assistant. So it's going to serve up all the things you need to do every single day automatically. It's going to put them back in front of you so you don't miss stuff. That's where the artificial intelligence really shines and helps you stay on track. To do that, though, we really want to make sure you have a good foundation, and that's where the organizing comes into play. So if you attended our last class or any of our previous classes, we've talked about how you can organize around that client journey, organize the people that are important, and that really focuses our artificial intelligence on the right people. We're, of course, monitoring everybody, but when it comes down to keeping focused and keeping you on task, we really like to see your core sphere organized. And that can come in a lot of different forms, but once you get that in good shape, the rest will just happen automatically for you. So that's where we're going to start. I'm also going to recap some of the optional settings. Highly recommend connecting your SkySlope account and connecting Zenlist. Both pair up with Cloze really nicely. With SkySlope, when you connect it, we're going to bring in all the contacts on your side automatically, historically, and whatever's happening currently. Bring all those in, we'll automatically organize them. We're also going to set the purchase anniversary and the sale anniversary on those contacts so you remember every year to reach out. On the Zenlist side, nice thing about it is once you set somebody up in Zenlist, all that activity you have with your clients in Zenlist syncs into Cloze automatically. You're going to see it in the timeline. So it's a really nice way to stay close. Keep them in your orbit so they don't drift off into other platforms and other tools. But all that communication will show up inside of Cloze so you can really stay close to your clients using Zenlist. So let's start off with a little bit of an organizing recap, go through the core of how to organize your contacts, and then I'll dive in to building a routine with Cloze, using it day in and day out to get a lot out of it. I'm going to stress on the basics today. There's a whole bunch more you can do, but if you just do what you learn in this class, you'll get a ton out of Cloze. Okay. All right, I'm going to jump over. I'm going to demo in a few different spots today. I'm going to demo on my computer and on my phone. If you haven't yet downloaded the Cloze mobile apps, please do. It makes a world of difference. The nice thing about Cloze is all the functionality that you have on your desktop, you also have on your iPhone. There's no functional difference, so you can use Cloze on the go. So you're going to see me demoing a lot on my phone today, but I'll be switching back and forth as we go. Okay. All right. So if you remember, we've been working down this list of items that you'll see on the agenda. This guides you through the process, these getting started steps. So we've started off with the organization, and then we're working our way through. Today, we're going to jump into start using Cloze, go through the agenda here. So this top one here, organize your top 50. If you remember in the last class, we talked about this organizing wizard. The nice thing about this wizard is it allows you to quickly move through organizing contacts. So I've got Jared here. I can see he's a buyer and he's hot. So if I know what he is, I can set that very easily and move to the next one. So now Ed, I'm looking down the list. Is he a buyer or seller? I know he's a seller. And then I'm going to set him as in contract. So I can work through my list, and this is a very fast way to organize. Before we dive too far into that, let's go through some of the bigger picture items just to give you a high-level view. I'm going to start off with Steve here. This is a contact that I have not yet organized. And when we're talking about the journey, we're really talking about organizing contacts in this relationship section over on the right. You can see what we call stages: warm, hot, in contract, closed, and lost. That's where they are in the journey. So warm would be somebody you're just getting to know. Maybe it's a lead that came in from your website or another service, but you haven't talked to them. You really haven't confirmed that they're actually going to move forward, that they're transacting in the near term. Hot, that would be somebody that we say is transacting in the next 60 to 90 days. And then in contract, obviously they're working with you, closed, they're all done, lost a lead that came in and never engaged. So you've got 5 stages to work with. And then below that, you'll see what we call segments. Segments are typical, shouldn't be any surprises here, but they work together. So you can see I've got buyer, seller, buyer and seller. That's somebody who's transacting with me both ways. We've got A, B, C, and D. These can be used if you do things like Buffini or Ninja Selling, very common in a lot of coaching programs to organize your contacts by A, B's, C's, and D's. So you can use those. If not, I'll show you how to turn them off if you don't use those. And then there's some other segments down here like renter or partner, that kind of thing. Okay. If you go way down below, you're going to see family and friends, things like that. Optional if you want to organize your family and friends, but you can if you'd like to. So if I want to organize Steve here as a buyer, I can select buyer. So now he's a buyer, and then I can pick which part of the journey I'm on. I'm going to say warm. So now he's a warm buyer. Very simple, very clear, easy to see where he is. Okay. Right below that, you're going to see what we call steps. You can think of steps as all of the things I need to do to advance somebody along to the next stage. So here are the tasks I've laid out to advance Steve over here from warm to hot. You know, he's a new lead, so I got to follow up. I got to have a call with him. I got to figure out what he's looking for in a new home, and then hopefully move him along in the process. Steps are optional. If you love to be super organized and you love to have a process and know exactly what you need to do next with a contact, steps are great. They're also optional. So you can turn them off if you don't want to use them, but they can be very helpful. I know a lot of agents that love the organization of it and the structure it gives because you just remember all the things you need to do. But then I know other folks that don't use them. So it's really up to you. But think of it as a nice set of progression. It's a repeatable checklist. You can use it over and over again. So I've organized Steve here as a warm buyer. And then I've got my next step is follow up. If I want to advance, I can just select the next step and it will check off. It just moves them through the process. And as I complete steps, you can see they just get checked off. It just works sequentially. Below here, you see a variety of what we call custom fields. So you can expand these to see what's in them. Details, I can add, I can link people. So I could link his spouse to this contact and they'd be linked together, things like that, or whoever referred me. That can be helpful. Important dates. If I know birthday, wedding, purchase anniversary, sale anniversary, those kind of things can all be added here. Very simple. Just click and then set whatever date you'd like. Okay. Completely optional, but helpful. If you need to edit a contact, click on edit up here next to their name. And then you can edit any information that you'd like. Notice how it's got 2 sides, about and contact info, and I can add. Just click on the plus to add. If I want to add an email address, click on the minus to remove it. Very simple. When you're done, just tap on save. Okay, so that's how to do with one person. We can do that again. So I'm going to click on make this person a seller and then hot. Okay, very simple, easy to do. So that's one at a time. So you got the basic concepts here. So again, these are stages: warm, hot, in, contract, close, and loss. And then right below, call those segments. Okay, so I've got a hot seller. Now I could also do this. I could also change many people at once over here. So if I tap on these check marks, say I know all these people, these 5 contacts I just selected, if I know that they're all hot buyers, I could then tap on the check mark here, click on change, and then set the stage and the segment. So now they're hot buyers. Okay. As soon as I hit save, it's going to change all 5. You can see how they all updated. Very simple way to do it. You can do it in bulk. Very easy. Now I can also use that organizing wizard if I want to do it in a little faster way. The way those contacts are served up in that organizing wizard I just showed you is based on how well you know them. And so if you tap on the funnel here, you're going to see a number of sorting options. I do recommend using these sorting options because they're very unique to Cloze and they can be very, very helpful. We use your communication history to inform these different options. The default is best relationship. And this is based on our AI analyzing your communications to understand who you know well. We put the people you know best at the top, and that's based on what you have connected. So if you only have an email account, it's only factoring in email. But if you connect your phone and we can track calls and texts, it'll factor in that information in too. So you're going to see the people you know very well at the top. And then below that, you'll see others, like who did you just meet? When was the last time you interacted with them? When did they last engage with you? Which just means they reached out to you. So you're going to see a whole bunch of different options here, and some for organizing. So newly created contacts, new contacts that have synced into Cloze that you've never talked to, contacts that our AI is recommending you classify. So you can use all of these very useful sorting options to sort and filter your contacts. If I tap here on this plus again, you're going to see that quick organizing wizard I was just mentioning. You can bring that up anytime you want. So if you want to spend a little time organizing the people you know best, again, it's going to start with those. So I've got Michael here. I know he's buying and selling with me and he's warm. I just tap on the check mark here and it will move to the next contact. If I want to go back, notice the arrows here. There's Michael, and I can go to any previous contact I'd like to. So if I want to change him, I can. So I've got Dustin. I know he's a hot seller. I've got Jackson. He's a warm seller. Jenny is a warm buyer. So you can just move through these very, very quickly. Just read their name. If you don't know, you can skip. So if I don't know what Holly is, I just skip. Don't know what brand is, skip brand. Okay, Lewis, I know is a hot buyer. Very simple. When you're done, you'll get an opportunity to adjust how often Cloze will remind you about these relationships. We're going to talk a lot about this today, but one of the ways Cloze does this is it analyzes your real communication history. So it analyzes your emails, your meetings in your calendar, your calls, and your text to determine very precisely the last time you talked to somebody. If you haven't talked to somebody in a week, like my in-contract buyers here, Cloze will remind me automatically. So if I organize somebody as a hot buyer and I haven't talked to them in 2 weeks, Cloze is going to remind me. So you can kind of think of it like a backstop. If I haven't talked to somebody in a period of time, Cloze will remind me. It's not just a 2-week reminder that happens over and over again. It doesn't take into account your actual communications. That's what makes Cloze different. I know a lot of tools will just remind you every 2 weeks, and it doesn't know if you phoned them or you texted them. Cloze will only remind you if you're not in touch with them. So if you didn't talk to them on your phone, you sent them a text, sent them an email, that kind of thing. Okay. So it's very, very precise. You can adjust these and fine tune them. We've got some preset settings that are reasonable. You can adjust them. I would just be careful not to set everything to 3 days. So 3 days is fine, but make sure that you only have a few contacts that are set to that. That's generally the way to think of it. So pick a category of relationships that you want to be really tight with. That's fine, but don't set everything to really tight schedules. When you're done, hit save, and that'll update everything. Okay. So that's how you go through your contacts, the basics of organizing. The other piece is adding tags. So if you see up here, there's a few tags already set. So if we go to Dana, you're going to see there's a tag called holiday card. If I want to add a tag to another contact, we'll go to Willow here. See where it says add tags? I just start typing the tag I want to add. If I type in holiday card, it's going to show that, and then I can select it. If I want to add her to my newsletter tag, I can start typing. Notice I started typing new, and I can see there's a newsletter tag. And then right below it, this grayed out one just says new. So that's a tag that I've never used. If I want to create it, I can select it. So now I created a tag called new. If I want to remove a tag, hit the X. So do that again. You can see that would be creating a new tag. If I select newsletter, I've just added newsletter. Very simple. And then to search for people that have a specific tag, just put the hashtag symbol in and then select the tag. And you can see I've got 5 people that have the holiday card tag. Okay. Very simple. Now I'm going to go into settings briefly and just show you a few things so you know how to edit. I tap on more, tap on settings. This is where you can make adjustments and customizations. So go into the customization section, tap on people to expand the section. And then you're going to see all those segments I was just talking about. So here's buyers, buyers and sellers, sellers, and then all the other ones we went through. So if I go to buyers and I click on the gear right here, I can make adjustments. So I can adjust my keep in touch schedule we were doing before. I can use the slider to adjust. I can also change any of those steps that I have. So if I wanted to remove a step, I can click on the minus and I could delete it. If I want to add a step, click on add and I can add a different step. I can also drag to reorder if I'd like to do so. Very simple. If I would click on the gear, I can make changes to this specific step. So I could rename it. I could change the reminder schedule. I can even add an email template to it. All simple things you can do. If you don't want any steps, just hit the minus and you can remove all the ones that are there. Okay. Same thing goes for any of these. If you don't use an A, hit minus and you can remove it. If you want to add a custom segment, tap on add, and then you can add one. Now you're going to see a couple of options when adding. With stages or without. Without stages are for people that can only be that thing or not. So a good example would be family. So if you see below here, family, there's no stages because there's no such thing as a warm family member, right? They can only be family or not. So if you have a segment that is either or, like a coworker, you can use that type of segment. A's, B's, C's, and D's are the exact same thing. You're either an A or not. So think of it that way. Okay. So some very light overview of customization. If you need any assistance, reach out to our support team, support@cloze.com, and they're more than happy to help. So going back to the agenda here, you'll see these options here for the first 10 days or so, and then they're going to fade off. That wizard is here for you right from there, but you can always get to it from the people section where I just showed you. So if we go back over here, people, plus, and then quick organize, and that's how you can do it. Okay, very, very simple. Now that was a demo account that showed you what a new account looks like, which would be close to what you would see. This account I just switched over to is a good example of one that's been more completely filled out. So you can see I've got most of my contacts, my core sphere organized. You can see I'm using tags quite a bit. Really helps me stay on top. Okay. And the nice thing about it is once you start getting in your tags and things like that, you can easily find people for a variety of different tasks. So we're heading into the holiday card season. I can find all the people on my holiday card list very easily because I've organized them. And then I can do things by bulk selecting and then taking action. So that look for that check mark on the right side. And then you can do things like send an email to all of them. You can log that you sent a postcard to them. You can even export into a spreadsheet or create Avery labels that you might use on those cards. So once you've organized, it gives you a lot of flexibility. Email, if we go back up a level, is very helpful because I can reach out to many people at once using my real email. So you can see here how it's flipping through all their names. Hi, Bob, Skip, Joe, Monty. Each person here will get their own copy. So I've got 101 people selected. When I hit send, it's going to send 101 emails out of my real email account, so out of my Gmail account. And they're all going to think I just sent it to them personally. It's not a BCC. It's not going to look, automated in any way. It's going to go into the main folder because it's a real email. So it gives you an opportunity to gauge at scale, but still keep it very authentic. And remember, we talked about in some of our other classes, if you click on the light bulb here, this is our ghostwriter. You can write anything you want with it, other topic. And so if you don't have if you want a quick idea, like we just did Labor Day, you can have it create the content for you. And so you can see, almost knocked over my water glass. You can see how it easily wrote it and done. So very, very simple. And you don't have to spend a lot of time agonizing over writing anything. And then you can just simply hit send. So super easy And if I were to hit send, it will go to all 101 people. They'd all get their own unique copy. So a lot you can do with the ghostwriter to create content in simple ways. I will tell you that this type of content far outperforms any glossy, fancy looking emails because it looks like you sent it. It feels very authentic. You're staying close to your sphere. This type of communication, we can do all the fancy stuff, but this type of communication will actually perform better. And that's ultimately what you want. You want people replying back and engaging with you versus just hopefully opening something and seeing a picture that was created by a marketing person. Okay. All right. So I'm going to dive into the next part of the class here. But if you have questions, remember our team is on YouTube answering questions and out there in EXP world. So answering those questions for you. When it comes to setting up Zenlist, I wanted to make sure, I know we've had questions on this one. What's unique about Zenlist is you're actually going to connect over in Zenlist, not from Cloze. So go into Zenlist, log in there, and then you'll see your picture in the lower left. That's your account. Click on that, and then you can navigate to the account page, which will take you to integrations. Click on integrations. And you're going to see Cloze in the list. Click on that. And then approve the connection, and this will connect Cloze to Zenlist. And then all that activity is going to flow into Cloze automatically. It's a really helpful integration. I'll show you what that looks like. So here's Rebecca. You can see here all this activity. I got text messages coming in. I got her browsing activity, properties she saved, notes she saved. All this activity just comes in automatically. So it's very, very handy. You'll see it all in the timeline, just marked as Zenlist. So get that connected, and it's very, very helpful. Okay, so today, the rest of the class, we're going to talk about using the agenda, building that daily routine. I like to start off with Shirley as part of that. Better to have other people tell a story than me. And so I'll showcase a bunch of agents who have used Cloze for many years and how they use it to drive their business. And so what Shirley is talking about here is that we're all busy. We get very busy. And this is where AI can really help us, is it can keep an eye on a lot more things than we can keep an eye on. So think of it as a backstop. It's working behind you to help out. It's like an assistant, and it's going to catch things because it can traverse a lot more information. And there's a lot of information flowing through Cloze. So what she's talking about here is those moments where Cloze catches a client where time just goes by and you get out of touch. Suddenly 3 months have gone by and you haven't engaged with them. Cloze is going to surface them. Even if you haven't organized them, it just understands they're important, and we'll put them back in front of you on the agenda. So we're going to talk a lot about the agenda today. I'm going to showcase that as I go through, because that's the heart of Cloze and that's where you're going to work. So when she's talking about it impacting her business, it's because she's staying close to her sphere, and that builds repeat clients and referrals. If you stay on top of that core sphere, you don't need to rely on lots of expensive leads coming in to you day in and day out. Leads are still going to happen. You're still going to be part of your business. But I know a lot of agents who live exclusively as sphere selling agents. They get all their business from repeat clients and referrals. And so that's possible, but you got to stay on top of those relationships so that when they think real estate, you're top of mind. I also like to show Julia here because she was in the same seat you were in, probably like 3 years ago now, and highly skeptical agent, wasn't quite sure it was going to work because she tried a lot of other tools, tried other CRMs, and they just were a lot of work and didn't really work out because she had to do all the work and she didn't get much back from it. So she reluctantly set up her account, got going, and then she came back to the class and said, I just got a deal out of this. And what happened was we surfaced a client of hers that she hadn't talked to in a long time. She did what we said, which is reach out. You're going to see your clients on the agenda. So I will tell you now, reach out. And she did. And he was ready to buy again. And so there is a little bit of a trust the system, it will works point to what she's saying here. Don't overthink it. The AI will help. It will surface clients. You'll see this in a lot of other tools where you have to do a lot of filtering and sorting and manually creating of lists of contacts and setting notes and reminders. You don't have to do that with Cloze because the AI is doing that for you. And that's Julia's point here. So think of it as a daily routine. Use Cloze throughout the day. Beginning of their day, all top performing agents I know have a clear routine. They stay on top of that routine, and then they have the rest of the day in front of them. So when I'm talking about using Cloze here for this type of activity, it's not a huge in time investment. We're talking about 15, 20 minutes a day, a little longer if you connect with people. But if you invest here, it will yield business. Remember the mobile apps I mentioned earlier, make sure they're on your phone. You can use Cloze away from your desk, all kinds of capabilities there. And then when you get back, everything's synced. So anything you did on your phone is synced and available on your computer. There's no difference, again, from the functionality. You can use it to take notes, whatever you got to do, and then come back to your office. And then an end of day routine is also very helpful. So looking ahead, what else do I have? What else can I be doing for the next day? Cloze is keeping track, so maybe you're adding notes, things like that, but it's all there for you. Okay. So think of that agenda as your action plan for the day. So start there, start on the agenda. What we're building for you is a routine. So it's going to have people that we recommend you get back in touch with. It's going to have birthday reminders, purchase anniversaries, all kinds of things that our AI caught, but it gives it to you all in one place. So you don't have to go create that action plan every single day. Cloze is just going to do it for you. And then you can take action right inside of Cloze. That's why I'm going to demo on my phone a lot. One piece of advice, start here because you're investing in your business. Instead of diving into your inbox or diving into social media, right, where we can lose a lot of time in our inbox or on social media, if we invest time here, that 15, 20 minutes, it will make an impact. And Cloze is going to surface the important stuff. So even important email are going to show up on the agenda, but it's designed so that you can work through it, stay close to your sphere, and then you can get onto your inbox and anything else you need to do for the day. It's going to change every single day. You can see a variety of different things. You're going to see keep in touch reminders. You're going to see birthdays, purchase anniversaries, important emails that we've flagged, all your calls and meetings that you've had. Those are going to be on there. So it's a lot of information that's all brought together for you in one place. And again, you don't have to do anything to create it. It just happens. Very simple swiping actions. And the reason I like to start on my phone is because if I'm going to swipe and make a phone call, I'm going to do that on my phone, right? So simple swipe to the right. I can email, I can call, that kind of thing. Generally think of finishing up as going the other direction. So if I want to clear something, I'm going to the left. But if I want to make a call or email, go to the right. Okay, we're going to start off with keep in touch reminders. I will say, if you pick any section, do this because this is the thing that you will get the most business out of. Cloze is going to automatically analyze all the way back in time and understand your relationships deeply. It's going to understand who you know well, and it's going to recommend you get back in touch with your contacts. Okay. It's not going to pick arbitrary ones. It's going to pick people that you have a relationship with. It's going to pick people that you've organized. So if you say, I want to stay in touch with Jamie Tarr here, it's going to understand that. And if you're not in touch every couple of weeks, it's going to remind you. But if you are in continuous contact with that person, then it won't remind you. So it's very simple. It's analyzing your sphere to do that. I like this from Spencer because his point is he used to use a different CRM. And one of the problems was he'd have to very meticulously set the date of the next time he'd follow up or contact that person. So he did a lot of filtering, a lot of sorting, and a lot of manual reminders. The point he's making is he doesn't have to do that anymore. He just goes onto his agenda, and whoever Cloze is surfaced for him, he works through, and then he's done. And so think of it that way. If you can get to the end of your agenda every day, you've contacted the key people, and you're moving on. And so that's the general idea here. So instead of having to do a lot of work, let Cloze do the work for you, call the people you should, and then move on. And so the way we're doing this is every day it's going to change, but we're going to bring those people forward. It's going to understand the last time you communicated. So Dana, 15 days, and Gina, 28 days, and then remind you if you're out of touch. So those settings we looked at earlier are important here, and that's what's going to guide it. But it's also going to understand your real patterns. So if you say, remind me every month, and you normally talk earlier than that, Cloze will understand that and nudge you earlier. It's also going to go through and way back in time and understand relationships that were very strong in the past that have since faded. Like it's been many years. We call those a blast from the past. we only give you a couple of those a day maximum, but they tend to be really good leads because they tend to be your clients that have somehow slipped through the cracks and they're long forgotten. And so those we get the most comments on because people are like, I don't know how you remember this person, but I did a deal with them years ago. I got out of touch and then I reached out and they were ready to sell. They were ready to buy. And so look out for those because that's relationship gold. That's an opportunity that would have been missed. And that's where we get the most amount of comments. So look for these opportunities. Keep in touch reminders will make sure you're on top of that core sphere and nobody's slipping through. That's what Jay here is talking about a little bit is there's this guilt if you're not staying close to your sphere. People that you've worked with in the past, and maybe some of them have slipped off to other agents. And it's like, oh, how did I lose that client? And part of that is you just got to stay close. It's hard. You sell somebody a home and they don't buy or sell for a long time. But any kind of personal connection will keep you close enough. If you're providing something of value, you're checking in, you're sitting down with them once a year to tell them what their home is worth, providing something of value, or just staying connected, they will refer you and they recommend you, but they'll also come back to you. And so Jay here got organized, got his core sphere in here. He just logs in and he does his routine every single day. And that's his point. He's like, literally all I have to do is log in, Cloze has got it all ready for me, and I just do my work and I move on. And that's completely changed how his business operates. So that's the end goal. So he's got a really good system and that can make a big difference. Simple options here. I mentioned swiping. So I do like starting on my phone in the morning. First action, you can snooze if you want to, or you can send an email. Again, you can do that from your phone. You can email from your computer too. But if you're making a call, swipe to the right, release on the call, and then you can dial them up. Then going the other way, you can also skip. So if you feel like or maybe you bumped into somebody in person, or you just don't want to call them this week, you can skip. That's totally fine. Or sometimes the AI is not always perfect, right? So if we surface somebody that you don't want to be in touch with anymore, just go a little further. You can mute them and we'll never remind you again. Okay. So different actions for different things. Of course, the way we're doing this is all based on AI. It's recommending follow-ups, and it's because it's based on your real communication history. And that's the key thing I'll keep saying is it is based on that communication history. So that's why it's important to connect your phone, so your calls and your texts from your real number get tracked too. And then this is really, really precise. You can adjust, as we looked at, how frequently we remind you based on the stage and segment. So that's one of the reasons we recommend organizing your contacts, is these things are tied together. So my warm sellers could be every 3 weeks. My hot sellers could be every 3 days, whatever I'd like, based on those settings. Each stage and segment can be different. You can adjust that in settings. We went there a little while ago, but I'll show you exactly how to do that in a moment. You can see there's those sliders, just slide it each way. Okay. So you can adjust, just to recap, you can adjust this based on the stage and the segment combination. So it's not just the segment, but it's all these different ones, all these different options are available to you. So you can really fine tune it. Even close buyers, I know a lot of agents who focus down on setting a routine for anybody who's closed, because they're going to come back eventually. Okay, so here's Cloze on my phone. Like I said, I mentioned I like to demo on the phone here. Right in the middle, there's a keep in touch reminder. I've got 8 today. This is going to vary. Some days you're going to have more. Some days you're going to have fewer. But very simple. Just swipe actions. You can see I can snooze. If I release there, I can snooze it for later today or pick a different time. If I release on email, I can send an email. If I release on call, I can send a call. So if I release on call, I can then tap on the phone number and dial up Gina here. So that's why I like doing it on my phone. If I want to send an email, swipe, release on email. And you can see we've brought up an email. My email signature is in there. This is one of the things that is in the setup there, are the 5 steps, getting your email signature in there. If you need assistance with that, our support team is happy to help. Easy to do. This is a real email. And so I say that because it's being sent through whatever email accounts you've connected to Cloze. So I've connected my Gmail account. So when I push send, it's going to be sent through my Gmail account. So in the sent folder outside of Cloze, I'd find that email after I push send. Okay. So there's no difference to Gina, and there's no difference to you. You can type, you can adjust, you can do anything you want, just like any other email account. So if I was sending this on my iPhone email, standard stock email, it'd be the exact same thing. What's different is we included a template to get you started. So that's checking in, hi Gina. We call these templates. This is a default built-in template that comes with your Cloze account. You can modify this, change it any way you want. But we add some bells and whistles around this. So here's a few things, just like we did before with the ghostwriter. See that light bulb down there? If I tap on that, I can have Cloze rewrite this. So I'm going to say, give me a new subject, and it's going to change that subject for me automatically. Oop, make my screen stop sharing here. 1 second. Getting the spiral of death there. Let me try this again. You know it's live. All right, there we go. There's the subject. So you can see how that changed. I'll do it again. Tap on the ghostwrite subject. There it is. Long time no chat. How you been? So it can just change it. If I tap on that light bulb again, I could have it even rewrite my email. So I'm going to say authenticity, and it'll come up with a new email. So there's a new email. So take advantage of that ghostwriter because we have built-in templates. You can rewrite them. You can do it every single time, and it's unique. Breaks things up. A few more things to point out while we're in here. Upper right corner, there's a drop down. If I tap on that, there's a few options I can take advantage of. I can schedule this to go out later. So if I wanted this to go out tomorrow morning, I could say tomorrow, and then I could even pick the time. So whatever time I'd like. Go early. Tap on the check mark there in the left, and then it'll go out tomorrow. If I hit send, it'll be scheduled for tomorrow. I could set a follow-up reminder. This is one of my favorite features because I do this all the time. I'll send emails and I'll forget I even sent it. So let's go into Gina. If she doesn't reply, so you see how it says if no reply, then remind me next week. So now if she doesn't get back to me, I'm going to get a reminder automatically. If she does respond to me, then I won't get a reminder. Very helpful. And then probably the most popular feature when it comes to email is our email open and link click tracking. That's the bell icon you see right there. This is on by default. So if you just send an email through Cloze, we're going to be tracking those opens. The reason I say it's popular is everybody loves to know if their emails are being opened or if they're getting clicks on those emails. I use this myself. You can always tell if somebody's interacting with your email because you get a flurry of notifications. It's super helpful. Typically, if you get a flurry, you know it's been opened or maybe they forwarded it. If you're negotiating a deal, it can be helpful. So a very popular feature. Again, you got to send it through Cloze. So if you do a few of these, you'll start to see those notifications automatically. Okay. So a lot of features built into email. A few other things to point out. If you connect services like BombBomb or Canva or any of those tools, if you click on that plus in the lower right, you can insert images, BombBomb videos, Canva, all kinds of different things very easily right into your email and send them out. So if you've already recorded something in BombBomb, you could do that, or you could record right from in Cloze and do it. Far right corner, you can create templates or select even other different templates there for yourself. So a lot of options there for you when it comes to your email and doing these keep in touch reminders. So I'm going to delete that. So you can see here, you'll work through the list. The goal though, as you're moving through it, is to make the calls, send the emails, and they'll just clear off automatically for you. Now, if I don't want to talk to somebody, I can skip, and this will remove them. So if I was to do that, you'll see he just went away. Okay. If I go a little further and mute, I could mute, and I'll never get a reminder again for that person. Okay. Very simple. And when it comes to settings, lower right corner, tap on more, and then go to settings. This is where you can adjust those keep in touch reminder schedules that we were looking at before. Tap on people and companies. And if I tap on the gear, here are the sliders. So I could adjust sliders to anything I want, and that'll update my schedule. I like to see us keep in touch reminder even for the closed, because those are very important. Those are the people you've worked with. You could do that for each one. So I could go into sellers and do the exact same thing. Okay. Now, I just showed you settings on my phone. If you tap on more, go to settings here, you can go to the exact same settings right here. Okay. No difference at all. We make everything look the same across platform to make it easy to do it. Same thing goes for the keep in touch reminders. So here's those keep in touch reminders. Notice the rollover action. I can do the exact same thing. So I could set a reminder, I can call, I can mute, I can skip. That's what all these different icons are. If I want to send an email, click on the arrow. The arrow is an indicator there's a template available. So here's the template we saw before. Lower right is the ghostwriter. There's ghostwrites for a subject. It'll just rewrite that for me so that you can see a different one. Easy to do. And then here's that drop down and all the different options. Okay. So same experience, just to get a little more space on tablet and on computer, but you can do all the same things. All right. Goal tracking. If you've ever used the Apple Health Fitness app on your Apple Watch or something equivalent on Android, you've probably noticed that there was no setup involved. And so one of the cool things about that is that it tracks your movement. It tracks how many flights of stairs, how many steps, how many miles you're moving, that kind of thing, and adapts to you. We do the exact same thing for your relationship. So by analyzing all that communication history back in time, and when you connect your SkySlope account, we'll know how many sides you do. Cloze can do the exact same thing, but it's more like your relationship health. So it understands how often you reach out to your sphere, what kind of reactions you're getting back, and how many sides you're doing, and we'll set similar goals. So just like the fitness app, the health app, nudges you to do a few more flights of stairs, a few more steps, that kind of thing, or understands if you're an elite athlete or sitting behind a desk, knows the difference. Cloze, the exact same thing. So it'll know what your typical outreach is and will nudge you to go a little further. It'll tell you how much you've done. We've got the same kind of rings. It will also give you some feedback. It'll understand the reactions. And so it understands very precisely how you go. And so we really set out to make a very different type of goal tracker here, so you don't have to do a lot of setup. It understands seasonality. So if it's the slow season, it will understand that and not be over pushing you for sides when it's typically quiet. It also understands when you reach out. So if you typically reach out on Wednesdays, it's not going to be pushing too hard on a Monday, because it just understands how you work. The daily pacing is very important because we all get busy. We can't do something in a certain day. That's fine. We can always catch up later. So it's going to give us some catch-up guidance. It's going to make sure we're on track. It'll understand how many we need to do to get back in place. And it's tracking everything automatically, so there's no bias or guesswork or any busy work on your part at all. You don't have to log calls or emails or meetings or do any of that. It's just going to get updated automatically. It's very clear to understand what your goals are, where you are. And this is all based on real data. So when you connect SkySlope, that GCI number will come in from SkySlope. It's going to you'll clearly know what your typical outreach is. But what's important here is if you say, okay, I've taken the automatic setting that Cloze set, I want to override that and make a higher GCI goal, it will update how much outreach you need to do, because these things are correlated, which is pretty interesting. We actually did a big study well over 10,000 agents, the history of real data of how they operated. And what we found is for every 10 sides you want to close, you need to reach out to 4 clients per day. I say clients because it's key. It's a key part of it. It needs to be tied to your sphere. It's completely correlated to how many sides you can do. Which kind of makes sense. If you're not reaching out to your clients, it's really hard to get business done. But if you follow this pattern, 28 per week, you'll get 10 sides per year. Now you may be skeptical. The key thing is that middle part, the reactions. You have to be reaching out to the right people. So it can't just buy a list and reach out to people who don't know who you are. These are people that know who you are. They recommend you. they've worked with you in the past, or you're getting to know them, but they have to be related to real estate, obviously, in some form. They may not have transacted with you, but they know you as a realtor and they trust you and they recommend you. But if you follow this kind of approach, it will make your business much more predictable. The good thing is you don't have to set anything up. You can fully customize this, but you don't need to. We'll give you very clear goal as to where you are across the week. So you've done 17 in this case. Reactions are there. And the reason we focus on reactions and all of this in the study is that not only ensures you're reaching out to the right people, but it means that they're getting back to you. So, think of how things have changed over time, where open rates were everything. These days, to me, it's reply rate. Is anybody getting back to you? You're providing content that they're willing to engage with you on. Are you connecting with them at a different level that they do get back to you? And so once you're at that level, it makes a big difference. The little triangle there will tell you where you are from a pacing perspective. So, if you're on pace or off pace. And then below, you can see some suggestions on how to catch up if you need to. So 5 more to go, that kind of thing. So very helpful when it comes to just making sure you're hitting your goals. Do a little bit of extra work, just like the health app, and it will make a big difference in how your business runs. So here's the goal tracking. So it's the beginning of the week. So you can see I got a ways to go, but it's also, notice the catch up here. Based on the way I work, I've got 45 to do for the week. It's Monday, and I only need to do a couple more outreaches to stay on track. So it knows that I usually reach out a lot more later in the week. So these things can be adjusted, but it'll understand that. So very simple. Now, if you want to change anything, or you want a recap of what I just showed you, if you release there on help, you can walk through what I just told you about all the metrics. This is even like a built-in tutorial, so you can always go back on that. If you want to adjust, you can change your goals. So if I want to change my outreach goal, see how this is set to automatic right here? If I turn that off, I can then tap on the 45 and change it to anything I want. So if I wanted to make this 55, I could do that, tap on save down here, and I'm done. Okay. So easy to make changes. You can also reorder things. So if you wanted GCI to be prominent, you could change it. Now you can see my GCI goal is there. You want to change it back, just reorder. You can also add your own, tap on add. You can add your own measurements. I would caution you not to add too many of them. Start with the basics because it's just easy. And then details, you can see how you're hitting your goals. Okay. And same thing as before. If you're on the desktop, if you click, you can roll over. So gear to make changes. And I want to see all my metrics. I can see them on the right here. Cloze has a lot of AI. So you're going to see different types of reminders at different times. And what Adam's pointing out here, what I like about this one is that there's just a ton of email. We get emails all day long. It's really easy to miss stuff. Things just slip through. So what he's pointing out is Cloze has AI that will catch things like an important client lands in your inbox and you just miss them and don't reply back. Cloze will catch that and nudge you. Or maybe you've promised to do something, or they've asked you for something and expecting an answer. You're going to see those pop up. So in this example, client is saying, give me a call on Saturday morning. Well, Saturday morning, Cloze is going to say, hey, did you call Julie here? Right? So did you call this person back? You're going to see important emails like documents you need to sign. So, and did you sign, things like that. All those are going to show up on the agenda. Hey, you've got a document to sign. We'll nudge you on that. You're going to get a push notification about it. We'll also extract contact information for you automatically. You're not going to see too many notifications about this because it just happens automatically, which is nice. So imagine meeting somebody, get a referral, they come in, start interacting with them. But in there's an email signature. Cloze will not only create the contact for you automatically, but also update the contact with their information. Super handy. Go back here. So here's an example of one of those. So I got an important message right here. And so somewhere in here, there it is. Please send me anything that fits the bill this evening. So Dave reached out early in the morning and said, hey, can you send me the details? And maybe you missed it. Well, Cloze is going to catch it and then remind me, in this case, at 6 p.m., which is my evening. So you're not going to see these all the time, but the AI will catch these types of reminders. So very helpful. Open and link click tracking. Showed you this before. Very, very helpful, common thing. When you send emails through Cloze, we'll tell you automatically if the recipient has opened it or clicked on any link. Again, one of those a little bit of addictive features. So as soon as you start seeing it, you'll start to appreciate the feature. Very, very simple. You don't have to do anything because it's on automatically. So if we go back over here, you can see on the right side, here's an email I sent. And then even at the bottom, I can see some of the open tracking notifications. They can't see this, but you can see it. You'll get a notification right to your lock screen on your phone or on your watch or wherever you're using Cloze. And then you can even reply to reach out. Really simple. Recurring anniversaries. If you have a birthday, purchase anniversary, real estate review, these are all examples of recurring anniversaries where Cloze can remind you automatically. So instead of you having to rely on Facebook or anything like that, as long as that information is in Cloze, we'll remind you automatically. If you connect SkySlope to Cloze, we're going to set those purchase and sale anniversaries for you automatically, so you don't have to do it. Makes it easy to engage, good excuse to reach out. You can have all kinds of different date fields with these reminders. Here's an example. This won't look exactly like what you have, but because you can reorder things if you'd like to. But those reminders are set. You can, once you've set it, it'll remind you every single year. So it is recurring. If you don't know the exact year and you just want the reminder, that's fine. You can do that. Birthdays, very simple. If you have birthdays in your Google Calendar or in your iPhone contacts, they're going to come in automatically, so you don't even need to set them. But if you do want to set one, just tap on edit and you can put the birthday in there. Really easy. If you don't know the birth year, that's fine too. Just put the date in and we'll remind you every year. Just watch out for leap years if they happen to be on a leap year. Again, you can create all kinds of different date fields. We see all kinds of different ones. We've got a core set that you'll see in your account that's there automatically, but you can add others if you wish to do so. One thing to note, most agents love to see just the fact that we're reminding them or putting them on their agenda, but you can automate these to go out automatically. It's simple to set up. It's a one-click type of thing to set up if you want to. In that way, that birthday comes and then the email just goes out of your account. It'll still use your real email, but it will just go out automatically. Some people like to engage, pick up the phone, send a text, that kind of thing. So it's really your own personal preference, whether you want it fully automated or you want to automate it to the point of getting it on the agenda and then later circle back. It's up to you. So let's take a look at those. So you can see I've got some important dates here. I got a birthday, purchase anniversary. So just like we did before, you can swipe here and you could dial up, get on the phone, which is always nice. Or swipe the email and you'll notice it's a different template. Just like before, I could tap on that light bulb and write up a different, let's get a little emoji in there. Great. Very easy. So you can use the simple ghostwriter there to modify it and then send it off yourself. People do like to personalize these, and that's why they like to not have them go out automatically. But again, totally up to you. You'll see here, purchase anniversary, different built-in template there. But again, you can modify it. Just type in whatever you'd like. Easy to do. I'm going to cover this briefly. I know we've got about 6 minutes left, but again, if you got questions, put them out there. Our team's more than happy to answer any questions you have. I know we're early in setup and that kind of thing, but one of the things that Cloze does really well is it helps you get together all your leads into one place. One of the challenges real estate has is that leads can come from a lot of places. So even if you're doing sphere selling, you still have a website, you still may get leads from a lot of different places. They land in your inbox, and that's kind of where they go to die because we miss them. And then by the time we find them, somebody else has already jumped on that lead. Nice thing about Cloze is we can extract that lead right out of your inbox and automatically put it in front of you. So it'll pull the information out of the email. It'll alert you. You can even have it create a contact for you automatically. I'll show you a very simple example, but it will alert you. You'll see it right on your agenda, or you'll see it on your watch, your phone, and then you can get in touch with them very, very quickly. The simple example I'm going to show you is because we're not fully automating everything. We're just capturing the lead. If you want to fully automate, you can do that too. To not only capture the lead, but also auto reply, start a drip campaign. If you're on a team, we can notify other people, all the typical jump ball, round robin, that kind of stuff for routing, all the stuff you'd expect. So if you got a big lead program, Cloze is very good at capturing all that information and bringing it in. So this simple example of a simple lead is just that. It's just a lead coming in. We're extracting the information out of the lead. I'll show you that in a second here. So you can see here, I got a new lead with Ellen. If I tap on that, you can see the email came in and we've got our name, email, phone in there. Cloze extracted that information. And all I got to do is tap on accept to create the contact. We'll set the lead source, set them as a warm buyer. So even the stage and segment will be set for you, and then you can jump on the phone. I call this a simple example because I got to tap the accept button and then jump on the phone. You could fully automate this and have it auto accept and then kick off an email that goes right back to Ellen, whatever you'd like. So it really depends on what you'd like, but it's for you to know that you can do that kind of stuff. It is very, very helpful. Okay. So as we wrap up, a couple of things here. One of the things to think about is from a routine point is you want to work through your agenda, try to get this to 0 if you can. So get to the keep in touch reminders, go through everything. There's an example of the open mail message there. You're going to see your meetings on your calendar too. So as you book meetings in Google or 365, Microsoft Outlook, you're going to see those meetings there. You can add notes anytime you like. Just swipe, add notes. As you finish up, though, you're going to see all those at the bottom. So meetings that you already completed are going to be at the bottom, all your meetings that you've had, and then all your calls too. So same thing, you can swipe and add a note, easy to do. Then when you're done, you can clear them. So think of this as like your end of day wrap up. Maybe I took a call in the car and I want to add notes, things like that. You can do all that as part of that end of day routine. Another point is you may not get to everything here, but because Cloze has pulled it all together, you'll have time to do that throughout the day. So maybe you skipped over something, but because it's already organized, you can get back to it. And that's really Leslie's point here, is that he's really good at staying on top of things, but his day gets busy. He doesn't get through his whole agenda. A couple of minutes here and there, he can pull out his phone and maybe send off a couple of birthdays or send off a checking in with one of his agents. He's on the managing broker side, so he's primarily staying close to his agents. But same idea, right? You got to stay in touch with them, and he's using it that way. So you can use it a lot of different ways, but there's these little bits of time between meetings where, because Cloze is already organized, it makes you much more efficient. So think of it as a routine, 15, 20 minutes a day, reach out, engage, make it very fast, but really focus in on building those relationships with your sphere. All kinds of activities that you're going to see on the agenda, go through those. Start and end your day on the agenda for that routine, and it will yield a measurable, impact to your business. Remember to download the mobile apps because it's essential in all this. And then if you can, wrap up at the end of the day, go through your checklist, make sure you covered everything, and you'll be in really, really good shape. So a little bit of homework here. make sure you're staying on that agenda. It's going to give you reminders. Even if you haven't fully set everything up, you may find contacts you haven't yet set a stage and segment on, you haven't organized. You can organize them as you see them. Remember, we said in the other classes, don't organize every contact. Let the AI help you. You don't need to do that with Cloze. If you haven't set up your signature, you haven't updated your own information, make sure that's all accurate so that when you go to send that first email, everything looks good and the way you want it. Okay. Any questions out there? I think we're in pretty good shape while I wait on that. We are headed into our last class, official class of this 100 days of training that we've been doing all summer. So we have one more on Wednesday, but we are going to have others throughout the fall. So there'll be more scheduled. You can come back, check on those. But for this series, we're wrapping up. We're going to do a few on Canva coming up, the Canva integration with Cloze. So you can take advantage of that. If you have questions or you want to continue your education, check out our help center, help.cloze.com. You can chat with our team there. You can email our support team at support@cloze.com. They're there 7 days a week to help you. Cloze University, you can enroll in different classes, learn.cloze.com. Self-paced learning helps you stay on top of things, learn new things, but at your own pace. Okay. Take advantage of the built-in assistance, that getting started section I showed you, and you'll be in really good shape. If you have not yet started with Cloze, also remember, you can send us your spreadsheet. So export your CRM from your previous CRM, send that to us, and we will import your contacts for you. All right. All right. Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you on Wednesday.